Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is in the hospital after suffering a concussion. The Kentucky Republican senator tripped and fell at a dinner for the Senate Leadership Fund at a hotel in Washington last night. A spokesperson says he will be treated at the hospital for a few days. And President Biden unveiled his budget in Philadelphia today with the aim of cutting the deficit by nearly $3 trillion over 10 years. The proposal is likely dead on arrival in the House, with multiple GOP lawmakers speaking out against it. For more on this, Nancy Cordes and Scott McFarland join us now. Nancy is CBS News' chief White House correspondent. Scott is a CBS News congressional correspondent. Let's start with you, Nancy, because you were CBS's chief congressional correspondent at one point, so you know very well that this budget proposal is really just a wish list, right? Just a political document that the president wants to put out there. So what do you glean from this proposal when it comes to the president's agenda?
You're right, Weija. It typically is a wish list. Sometimes it doesn't get that much attention on Capitol Hill because it's those lawmakers who actually write up the spending bills that end up being signed into law, they hope, by the president. But this time around, the president's budget is getting a lot more attention, and that's because there is this looming fight between the White House and congressional Republicans over raising the debt ceiling, which has to be done by sometime this summer, or the government's going to run out of cash to pay its bills. And Republicans have drawn this line in the sand, and they've said that they are not going to vote to raise the debt ceiling unless there are major spending cuts. They say they're very concerned about the deficit. So today, the president put his budget on the table and said, hey, I'm very concerned about the deficit, too, and my proposal would lower the deficit by about $3 trillion over the next 10 years. But he doesn't do it by slashing spending. He does it in a large part by imposing new taxes on the wealthy and on corporations. In fact, he lays out more spending, additional new spending that he'd like to do when it comes to making child care more affordable, making community college more affordable, expanding universal pre-K. But he says he can more than offset that by doing things like raising the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28% and imposing a new 25% tax aimed primarily at billionaires.
But to your point, Nancy, I mean, one of these sides has to give a little bit somewhere, right? Otherwise, it's hard to imagine how they go forward. So what can the White House do, to fulfill their promise that they won't consider the debt ceiling in these negotiations, but also get Republicans on board?
Right. So the White House is still claiming publicly that they're not going to negotiate over raising the debt ceiling. They say that there's no tit for tat here, that Congress has a responsibility to pay for things that it has already enacted into law, and that it's not going to give in to Republicans' demands. At the same time, the White House is saying, hey, we do care about lowering the deficit. Here's our budget that proves it. What do Republicans want to do? If they want to slash spending, have them show us what it is that they want to do. The White House believes that this is a fight for public opinion that they can win, because they argue that a lot of the things that the president put on the table here are broadly popular. They argue that things like universal pre-K and lowering the cost of community college and the like are very popular, as are taxes on the wealthy. And so they're saying, okay, Republicans claim that they want to lower the deficit as well, but that you can't really have a meaningful conversation until Republicans show a little leg, if you will, and lay out what it is that they'd like to slash as well. President Biden almost egging on the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in his speech in Philadelphia today, basically saying, hey, I'm ready to meet with you anytime. Just show me what your budget looks like, and then we'll talk.
I was also struck, Nancy, by how much the president talked about his accomplishments to date rather than focus on what's to come. So did you take today's speech as a warm-up for his reelection campaign?
Sure. And we know from polling that there are many Americans who still aren't aware of some of his accomplishments over the past 2 years. The White House really believes they have to take every opportunity they have to kind of remind people, I passed this, I passed that, infrastructure, Inflation Reduction Act, and the like. And they knew that there would be a lot of eyeballs on this particular speech today. And so, yes, he sort of rattled through, as you notice, that laundry list of things that he has managed to get done. And this budget is kind of, beyond being a sort of a spending prescription for the next year, it's kind of an outline of the things that he wants to do that he'll be talking about a lot on the campaign trail if and when he does announce his bid for reelection. There are a lot of things that a lot of these things are not new to us. After covering him for 2 years, they are things that he has talked about since he came into office, but he didn't manage to get them done over the first 2 years. And it's unlikely, frankly, that he can get some of them done now that Republicans control the House of Representatives. But nevertheless, this is his platform. This is what he ran on, and he's going to continue to run on it if and when he does announce his bid for reelection.
Right. It sure seems like it's what he wants to do to, quote, finish the job, as he talked about so often during his State of the Union address. Nancy Curtis, thank you so much.
You're welcome.